what I do on the Dota show is I work on what's called the animatic. So obviously, animation, every frame of animation, just like every frame of a visual effect, costs money. So you never want to animate something fully until you have a locked, what's called an animatic, where an animatic is basically very rudimentary. It's the shots are there, but the finished animation isn't. So you see a very rough version of the animation. So instead of going out and shooting shots with a camera, you create virtually these shots, wide shots, medium shots, close-up shots, and you have very, very rudimentary movement and things like that. So what I do is the animatics that are built, we cut them together, I refine them, so you can sit down. So I cut the show. So the show, you can actually watch the show from beginning to end in this rough state. So I cut that, and then once it's done, I work with Ashley Miller and Eugene and Zach, who Eugene's the animation director, and then Zach is Ashley's second in command. And we work together. And once we get the animatic finished, we then send it to Korea, and they finish the animation, which takes 4 to 6 months. So that's what I do. And then also, Ashley has me consult because, you know, obviously I've made films and things like that. I work with him on other parts of the post-production process, such as sound mixes. So I go to sessions which are called sound spotting sessions, where we watch an episode and we're like, okay, here's what I think. Here's the kinds of sound effects that we need. Like, what is it? You know, when you're shooting outside and you're recording sound, you can kind of hear where, but if you're in a castle, what does the castle sound like?
Yeah.
So when you're working in animation, you have to create that ambient noise.
That's pretty cool.
You know, so and then the composer creates, Dino, the composer, who's a fucking genius. He creates the music, and so we do it sound spotting. So we put all the sounds that we want in, and or Ashley makes notes, and we all make suggestions, and then those notes and all the pieces that we've put in are sent to be mixed, and then we get back a mix, which call it a pre-mix at first, to hear it before the final mix happens, and we make notes on that if we want something different or added or augmented, and then it goes back to the final mix, and then we get the final mix back and listen to it and then sign off on it. Wow. So most of my so I work in edit, because I've worked in post-production, editorial and post-production for a long time. Professionally, I started editing my first feature in 1993, and so that's my background is post-production and editorial mostly. But I've also produced and directed as well. So it's fun. And Dota has been a really gratifying experience because the people on it, the writing staff, everybody's very passionate about taking the Dota lore from Dota 2, the game, and incorporating that and turning, because the game has a lot of lore, but it doesn't have like long extended storylines like, say, Lord of the Rings, but it has a lot of traits and characteristics, and they're trying to incorporate that into the show. And it's a really surprising, like, one of the things I liked about it is when I did not read the scripts until after I worked on the episodes, because I didn't want to know what happened. When I started working, I'm like, these episodes are awesome, and even though I'm working on the rough animatics, I get to sort of experience the show for the first time in a way, in a kind of a weird way, and I was always left like, oh my god, what's going to happen next?